All right, so are you ready to dive deep into some messy relationships? The kind that make you wonder what even is a relationship these days?
Oh yeah, always ready for those. It's like a puzzle,
Hmm.
figuring out what makes people tick.
Exactly. And the story we're unpacking today, it's set in Everington, this bustling city that just feels like the backdrop for 1,000 love stories.
Oh, Everington. I know it well.
Right, so imagine this. Undefined relationships, infidelity, forgiveness, second chances. It's a roller coaster.
The kind that makes you grip the safety bar and just hang on.
Exactly that. We're going to try to figure out if undefined relationships, like, can they actually work?
It's a good question.
Yeah. And then all the feels that come with cheating and forgiveness.
Yeah.
And ultimately, how do we heal and move on from heartbreak?
Big questions.
Right. So our main characters are Alex and Taylor. Super intense connection, spent hours together, shared dreams, the whole deal.
Sounds idyllic.
Hmm.
Until it wasn't, I'm guessing.
Exactly. But here's the thing. They never actually put a label on their relationship.
Interesting. What do you think about that? Like, is that even possible nowadays?
Well, that's what we're going to try to figure out. It seems like there's a real trend of people resisting labels.
I've definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
Especially with millennials.
Right. It's all about flexibility, autonomy.
Like, those labels feel like a cage, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like you said, it can get messy, right? Expectations get all jumbled up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Misunderstandings, hurt feelings,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
Right. And even without the label, Alex and Taylor, it's like they had this unspoken understanding.
Ah, the unspoken rules. Those can be more powerful than any label sometimes.
Totally. They were in their own little world, like oblivious to all the societal pressures. Well, almost.
Almost.
Yeah, we got to factor in Taylor's mom. She just assumed they were a couple.
Oh, moms. Gotta love them. Always trying to figure out our love lives.
Right, but that's another story for another time. The real turning point here. Taylor cheats on Alex.
Oh, wow. So instead of facing the uncertainty head on,
They went looking for something else.
it happens.
Yeah, but what makes someone do that? Especially when they seem so connected.
Infidelity. It's complicated. Rarely black and white.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of factors usually. And it's not always about not loving your partner.
Sometimes it's about something else missing.
Exactly.
Mm.
Maybe unmet needs, unspoken expectations.
Or sometimes a cry for help, even.
Right. Trying to shake things up, find validation somewhere else.
So what about right after it happened then? Taylor was full of guilt, wanted to stay close to Alex.
It's pretty common, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it wasn't planned.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They realize they messed up, they want to fix it. But it's not a quick fix.
Definitely not.
The person who is cheated on,
Mm-hmm.
they need time, space to process everything.
Exactly, and Taylor just kept reaching out.
Like trying to hold on tight even though things were falling apart.
Yeah. It seems like that actually made it harder for Alex to heal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone copes differently.
Right. Some people want to talk it out, be close. Others need space to breathe and figure things out.
It's like, in this situation, Taylor wanted to connect, but Alex needed to step back.
Yeah. Almost like Taylor was in denial, trying to convince themselves things could go back to how they were.
It happens. And then, to make things even more confusing, they started talking about their new relationship.
Doesn't that seem kind of counterproductive?
Totally. You know that grass is greener thing?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
People romanticize the past, especially when things are tough in the present. Makes sense, in a way.
Yeah, you look back with rose-colored glasses.
But in Taylor's case, it feels like they were avoiding dealing with the root of the problem.
Avoiding the hard conversation.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
get this, Taylor even admitted to loving both Tristan, the new partner, and Alex.
Whoa! Is that, can you actually love two people at once?
I mean, there's polyamory, right,
Yeah.
but that's all about honesty and clear boundaries.
This feels different.
Yeah, it does, yeah. This is more like being caught between two worlds, not being able to let go.
Not healthy for anyone involved.
Definitely not. And eventually, it all became too much for Alex.
Yeah.
They chose to cut off contact with Taylor completely. Heartbreaking, but sometimes it's the only way to protect yourself.
It's like what they say about putting on your own oxygen mask first.
Exactly. You have to take care of yourself, set those boundaries, even if it hurts.
So that's what Alex did. New start, fresh beginning, moved back to their hometown.
Back to their roots. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Reconnecting with old friends, rebuilding their life, far away from everything that reminded them of Taylor.
Creating a safe space to heal.
Exactly. There's something powerful about new environments, supportive friends,
Reminds you that life goes on, there's still good stuff out there.
Absolutely. But even with a fresh start, the past has a way of sneaking back in.
No, the past always has a way, doesn't it?
It sure does. And for Alex, that means a chance encounter that throws everything up in the air again. But we'll get into that after a quick break.
So you were saying about a chance encounter. I'm curious about that.
Right. Well, picture this. Alex, out and about with their cat, exploring the new old stomping grounds. Bam! A chance meeting. Like something out of a movie.
I love those moments. They make you wonder about fate,
Mm-hmm.
Is it all random, or is there something bigger at play, like we're being guided toward certain people, certain experiences?
It's a good question, right? And this encounter, it leads Alex to Fleur. Playful, warm, and a total animal lover, which we know is huge for Alex.
Sounds promising.
Right, the kind of meeting that could spark something special.
Hmm.
But there's still the shadow of Taylor's betrayal hanging over everything.
That makes sense. After something like that, it's got to be tough to open yourself up again, to be vulnerable.
Exactly. How do you even begin to trust again after being hurt like that?
It's a process, that's for sure.
Mm.
Everyone's different. Some people put up walls,
Mm.
protect themselves from getting hurt again. Others jump right into new relationships, looking for something to fill the void.
So many different ways to cope.
Right. But I think real healing comes from finding that balance between protecting yourself and allowing yourself to be vulnerable again. It's about realizing that not everyone's going to hurt you, and that sometimes the risk of heartbreak is worth it for the chance at a real connection.
So Alex is trying to navigate all these feelings, right? This new connection with Fleur. But then guess who pops back into the picture?
Taylor.
You got it. It seems like old habits die hard, especially when it comes to social media. That temptation to check up on an ex.
Social media can be a real double-edged sword, can't it? Keeps us connected, but it can also fuel those unhealthy comparisons, jealousy. Keeps you tied to the past, even when you're trying to move on. And Taylor reaching out to Alex, knowing they're seeing someone new, that definitely suggests some unfinished business.
And let's be real, the message Taylor sent, not exactly a friendly, hey, how are you? It felt more like a way to remind Alex of their history, maybe even make them jealous.
It's possible. Sometimes we communicate in these roundabout ways, especially when we're trying to protect ourselves from feeling vulnerable. Or maybe even to test the waters, see if there are still feelings there. It's like our actions betraying our true intentions, even when we're trying to convince ourselves otherwise.
Exactly. And as if things weren't complicated enough, fate had another awkward encounter up its sleeve. Remember Taylor's mom, the one who just assumed Alex and Taylor were a couple?
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess who ends up at a party at her house?
No way. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Seriously. And of course, Taylor and the new partner, Tristan, are there too.
Yeah.
So much potential for disaster. It's like a recipe for awkwardness and drama. Social gatherings after a breakup, they can be minefields, especially with mutual friends involved.
Yeah. You're trying to be polite, manage your own feelings, and everyone's got these unspoken expectations. It's a recipe for awkward silences and maybe some resurfacing of old feelings.
So how do you think Alex handled it, this super uncomfortable situation?
What stood out to me? Alex decided to focus on their relationship with Taylor's mom. They chose a genuine connection that brought them joy, instead of getting caught up in all the drama surrounding Taylor. That says a lot about their growth,
Yeah.
choosing peace over conflict.
It's like they're taking control of their own narrative.
Exactly. Not engaging with Taylor's attempts to get their attention, not getting sucked back into that emotional vortex.
It's such a powerful example of how setting boundaries can lead to a more peaceful, more fulfilling life. And it seems like this becomes a real turning point for Alex.
How so?
They start to thrive in this new life, reconnecting with old friends, pursuing passions, creating a life that feels authentic and true to who they are. It's like they've finally broken free from the past.
That's awesome. It's like they finally found their footing after all that turmoil. There's something so powerful about creating a life that feels right,
Totally. And while Alex is experiencing this newfound freedom and joy, Taylor is struggling, feeling judged by friends, realizing what they've lost. Watching Alex flourish from afar, it's almost like a delayed reaction to their choices.
It happens. Sometimes we don't fully appreciate what we have until it's gone. And seeing an ex move on, be happy, that can trigger all sorts of feelings. Regret, jealousy, even feeling inadequate, like they're finally facing the consequences of their actions.
Realizing that maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Exactly. It's a tough lesson, but an important one. And then, just when you think things have calmed down, a mutual friend throws a wrench into the works.
Oh no, what happened?
Kristoff, bless his heart, decides to play matchmaker.
Wait, really? Who's he trying to set up?
He suggests that Alex and Tristan, as in Taylor's new partner,
Yeah.
would make great friends. What was he thinking?
Oh my gosh, that's bold.
To say the least. Mutual friends after a breakup. They can be a wild card. Sometimes they're peacemakers. Sometimes they stir up chaos. Clearly, Kristoff meant well, but he might have underestimated just how complicated things still are.
Definitely. So what did Alex say to that?
Well, they politely declined. They recognized that while making you friends is great, this particular situation had way too much baggage. It shows a lot of self-awareness, don't you think? Protecting their own peace of mind. Sometimes you have to set boundaries, even with well-intentioned friends.
It's all about prioritizing your own well-being, which, as we've seen, has been a major theme in Alex's journey. And speaking of their journey, there's another twist coming up that even I didn't see coming. Remember Fleur? Things are going well, but then Alex makes a surprising decision.
So what was this decision that surprised you about Fleur?
Get this, Alex decided to let go of any romantic feelings for Fleur. Things were going great, but they chose to step back. It's kind of counterintuitive, right? You'd think after everything, Alex would want that happy ending.
Yeah, it does seem surprising at first, but when you think about it, it actually shows a lot of growth, you know?
Mhm.
Alex has come a long way from that undefined relationship with Taylor. They're approaching things with a lot more awareness now, more intention.
It's like they're finally putting themselves first, choosing their own happiness, even if it means walking away from something that could be good.
Exactly. They're not just grabbing on to the first chance at love that comes along. They're being thoughtful about what they want, what they need.
So instead of getting tangled up in something that might not be right long term.
They chose to honor themselves. And Fleur, too, really.
Yeah.
Sometimes letting go is the kindest thing you can do.
It's a powerful message, right? Recognizing that sometimes love isn't enough, that you need more than just a connection to make a relationship work.
It's about compatibility, too. Not just shared interests, but also life goals, where you're headed in life. Maybe Alex sensed that their paths with Fleur were ultimately going in different directions.
It's a mature realization. Sometimes two good people can connect, but it doesn't mean they're meant to be together forever.
Exactly. It takes a lot of emotional maturity to recognize that. Love isn't always the answer.
So where does this leave Alex now? They've gone through so much. Undefined relationships, betrayal, forgiveness, and now this.
It's been quite a journey, right?
Oh,
But they've come out stronger on the other side. They're back in their hometown, reconnected with their roots. They've got great friends. Who knows what's next?
and maybe another chance encounter waiting for them. Or maybe they'll find happiness in a way they never expected.
The possibilities are endless. But what's important is that Alex is creating a life that feels true and fulfilling. That's what matters.
And that's a great message for all of us, isn't it? That relationships, no matter how messy they get, can teach us so much about ourselves.
They can be these incredible opportunities for growth and self-discovery. We learn about our needs, our capacity for love, for forgiveness, for resilience.
Alex's story has been a wild ride, that's for sure. Lots of ups and downs. But it's a story about resilience, about choosing yourself, about trusting your gut.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that sometimes the greatest love story is the one we write for ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to all of you listening, what are your thoughts? What resonated with you most in Alex and Taylor's story?
What are your takeaways about navigating the ups and downs of modern relationships?
Every relationship is unique, but there are always universal truths we can find in these shared experiences. Maybe it's the importance of communication or setting boundaries or finding the strength to forgive.
Or maybe it's just remembering that you have the power to choose your own happiness, to write your own story.
Beautifully said. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of human connection. Until next time.